Today I want to share how I track and log reading within my notebooks. I use multiple inserts from Good Impressions to document my reading, which I store within these Travelers Company archive binder. First, let me discuss briefly the supplies that I use. In all my inserts, I use two pens. One is a Pilot Vanishing Point in extra fine, and the other is in fine, which I use to make bolder headings. And both of these pens right now are filled with platinum carbon black ink. For the actual insert, I am using Good Impressions insert in standard size with 68 GSM white Tomio River paper and 4mm square grid. The only thing that really changes from insert to insert is the page count that I choose, but overall I really love the quality of their insert, and I like how the grid, it's not really that dark. With the standard inserts, I am storing them within these Travelers Company archive binder that come with these metal bars, and essentially this is what keeps the insert within this binder. So you can hold 5 inserts, though depending on the thickness of your insert, that number could change. I probably find it really easy to take an insert in and out of the binder, but I also only touch these on the weekends, so this may not be ideal if you use your inserts daily. And lastly, I use these Midori index clips to mark certain pages I want to be able to easily flip to, and these also do come in gold, but I really like the silver metal, especially since it matches the silver metal of the archive binder. Now let's discuss what I actually used each insert for. The first insert, and the one I probably use the most, is my reading log for 2024. The setup is the same as the one in 2023 if you have seen those videos where I use that insert, but in the front we start with a book read list. Still do need to fill parts of these out, but essentially this is where I want to be able to essentially see all the books I have read at the end of the year, and this is the way I can easily see which year I read those books, since sometimes I read a lot, so I forget what year I read a certain book. And while I do have a separate fanfiction insert, I do like to note what fanfictions I did read that year in addition to the books. And then I did save a page to fill out later at the end of 2024 with certain stats on how many books I read, pages read, most popular authors, my favorite books, things like that. And before the actual entries, I have these calendars to mark when I start a book, to just have a visual representation and to see any trends that I may have regarding to my reading. For each entry, I essentially just mark the title, the author, date, pages, a little synopsis, a star rating, and my thoughts and opinions. I do also say I have a specific star rating. I tend to always rate pretty low until maybe like near the end of the month, where I'll go back and I'll re-rate things, since I tend to sometimes change my rating based on the books I have read. And usually I tend to fill these out on the weekends, and I also will only fill this out once I have finished a book, and this is because I tend to sometimes read more than one book at a time, since I like different formats like audiobooks, ebooks, physical books, so that way I can make sure that these are written in the order. While I do occasionally journal about reading in my Pocket Leuchtturm daily journal, it's usually short and about the book, so I wanted essentially a space to be able to document reading related prompts, like should a series be turned into a TV or movie adaptation, or maybe book tags, or a book that I really like, books I wish I could read for the very first time. I only really have a few entries from 2023, but I really would like to work on filling it out more this year, since I do keep a little sticky note here of potential prompts that I would like to cover. And I also do mark the date and time that I read the book. And once again, the bolder header is used with a fine nib, and the rest is with the extra fine. The following insert is my fanfiction log. Since I tend to reread fan fiction, I wanted to have a separate insert from the books I read that year, so I could create a layout that allows me to add more room for thoughts and reviews over the years. At the front of the insert, I will keep a list of all the fan fiction names that are in this insert, so it's easily to see which ones are in here, since I know I will probably need to create a second one at one point. Each fan fiction gets an entire page, and this is where I will mark the title, the author, published, the website, word count, a little synopsis, star rating, and then this is on the side where I can write my thoughts for each time that I read, essentially. So I have like a few in here, but this is essentially so I can just keep track over the years without having to create a new entry each time. Lastly, this is an insert I have yet to actually start, but this will be for a series that I really want to document my thoughts and my theories, as well as make note on world building. I've always really enjoyed making theories and research for books, for fantasy books specifically, but I find that with completed series, I don't really take the time to make those theories and just binge all the books. But I decided, since I have been reading the Empyrean series, since the first book came out, I wanted to just document my entire reading experience of the 5 books in this insert. I can share more of it once it's actually set up, since I'm still figuring out the best way to transfer all my current notes that I have typed up into this insert. In addition to this archive binder, I do have another one where I'm storing all of the reading inserts that I am not using, like my 2023 reading log. Essentially anything that is completed will get moved to that. Ultimately, I really love this system, as it allows me to have multiple reading related inserts that each have a specific purpose and that I can switch out as needed, but they all fit in one binder.